Hello everyone, my name is Stadel, and today I'll be talking about a man named Joseph Mengele. For those of you that don't know, during World War II, many of the prisoners at concentration camps were experimented on to further understand the human body. I've always been interested in history, and I hope someday to teach it, so next year I'll be going to study education and history at KU. Today I'll be explaining who Joseph Mengele was, the experiments he performed, and why he did such things. First, Joseph Mengele had a long ways to go before ending up as a physician at the Auschwitz camp. He was born March 16th in 1911 in Ginsburg, Germany. He earned his PhD in physical anthropology at the University of Munich. He also had a doctoral degree in genetic medicine. In 1913, he was the assistant doctor to Dr. Verschuer at the Institute of Hereditary Biology and Racial Hygiene. Verschuer was a leading scientific figure in the study of twins. In 1973, Joseph joined the Nazi Party and the SS. And in June 1940, he was drafted into the army for the medical service of the Waffen-SS. He eventually served as medical officer on the Eastern Front and saw a lot of action. In April 1943, he was promoted captain of the SS, which shortly preceded him to the transfer of Auschwitz. He was believed to be the highest-ranked captain at the camp. He was responsible for all medical matters inside the complex and was required for many different rounds, including when new prisoners would arrive, he would come out and say who would be sent to the gas chambers and who would be sent to the labor camps. At the camp, he was known as the Angel of Death for his cruel and unusual demeanor at the ramp. The Holocaust Encyclopedia stated, "Survivors said he often appeared off duty when new prisoners would come searching for twins." He was the Nazis' perfect symbol of cruelty and theology. Now, since we've discussed some background information on how Joseph came about, let's discuss some key factors of his fascination with science. He had a wide variety of interests and performed many experiments at the camp. One of the experiments was the high altitude, in which he'd place a prisoner in a low altitude chamber and then drastically increase the altitude. Another experiment, which from my understanding was pretty popular to do, was the freezing experiment, which he'd place prisoners inside ice-cold water until they'd pass out or die, and if temperatures were cold enough outside, he would also do the same. But he was most famous for his experiments dealing with twins. He would often secretly administer poison into their food and shoot them with poison bullets, and soon after they would all die. Among his interests was a condition called heterochromia, in which the irises in your eye differentiate in color. It was often said that he would keep dead prisoners' eyes so that he could use it as research material, and he conducted many trials with these. He also attempted the degeneration of Jews and Gypsy blood through the collection and harvesting of tissue and body parts. However, as I previously mentioned, his biggest fascination was with twins. Broder's article mentioned one witness described how the Nazi doctor Joseph Mengele ripped an infant from its mother's womb, then hurled it into an oven because it wasn't a twin as he had hoped. In May 1944, twins Miriam and Ava arrived to the Auschwitz camp. Ava was injected 5 times daily until she developed a high fever and she was sent to the infirmary. On the other hand, Miriam was injected daily, which led to her death 49 years later. She was able to have kids, but doctors found out that her lungs never grew from the size of a 10-year-old girl's. And still to this day, doctors don't know what they were injected with. Another set of twins were 2 Hungarian boys, and they were photographed daily, and x-rays of their hair patterns were taken also. But only 3 weeks after arriving, they were sent to the dissection lab, killed, so that their organs could be further dissected. Now that we have looked at the experiments they've performed, let's look at the reasonings behind doing all of these terrible things. Which brings me to my third point. Why did Joseph Mengele perform all of these terrible procedures? Well, his fascinations with twins started with his mentor that I previously mentioned, Verschuer. And in the 1930s, twin research was an ideal tool weighing the factors of environment and hereditary. And now at Auschwitz, with a full license to kill, he performed a broad range of agonizing and lethal experiments to Jewish and Gypsy children. He was convinced of a mission to breed a race of blue-eyed, blonde-haired people, and he felt it was his duty to kill all biologically inferior specimens. It was often said that he would smile at pretty women while putting them to their death. With all this research he had gathered, he was planning to write habilitation, which was a second postdoctoral thesis, which was required for the admission to a university faculty as a professor in German-speaking lands. However, in 1945, due to the Soviet Army's advance, he had to flee. Post-war, he actually ended up in U.S. custody, but because that we didn't know who he was, he escaped. He was on the run for many years, obtained many different names, but died while swimming because he had a stroke. Now I'll conclude my speech. I have shared with you guys 3 main points: who Joseph Mengele was, the experiments he performed, and why he did such things. In summary, he spent a lot of time traveling to different faculties, performing very bad procedures to prisoners inside his camps, and researching in hopes to write a book. In the end, I think Joseph Mengele got what he deserved. Thank you.